Alright guys, Darren from FBA Elite and welcome back to another video. So in this week's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some things that have been happening to my FBA business over the past week or two. I think they are the type of things that most FBA sellers will experience at some point. So I just want to share my experience of what I've been going through and hopefully you guys will find it helpful. So the first thing that I want to take a look at, and that is my sales so far for Q1. So from January onwards into March. And as you can see here, things were going very nicely. And then they've really plummeted and have ground completely to a halt. Now, this looks a lot more dramatic than it actually is. It's nothing to do with my account or even any of the products being suspended or anything like that. This is literally being caused by shipping delays. Now, I'm sure that many of you are aware that towards the end of 2020 and the first part of 2021, there's been huge pressure on the shipping channels and big delays at UK ports, and shipping costs have gone through the roof. And unfortunately, my business is feeling the impact of this. So I thought I had things under control. I tried to reorder stock as early as possible without kind of over committing, because as I've talked about in the past, generally I will reorder stock once a batch arrives at Amazon. So my last batch arrived at Amazon in December, I think, and it was in December that I placed a replenishment order. So here we go. I've ordered two different products on this order, but they're part of a single shipment. And you can see here, these were ordered. One was mid-December and one was towards the end of December. So I thought I had plenty enough time. The idea was to get the products manufactured in 3 to 4 weeks so that I'd be ready to leave China just before Chinese New Year at the end of January and the first part of February. And thankfully, my supplier did actually live up to that and the products were ready and they were dispatched at the end of January. The issue is they were due to arrive in the UK on the 28th of February. And a few days before that, I got contacted by my freight forwarder to let me know, due to delays and congestion at the port, the delivery date had been pushed back till the 6th of March. So I lost pretty much a week there with the delivery date to UK ports being pushed back. And since then, I've been waiting for that container to be unpacked. So the container is off the boat, but it's still completely full and my products haven't been unpacked from that container. Now, I've been told 2 dates over the past week from my freight forwarder when my product was going to be unpacked, but it still hasn't been unpacked yet. So I'm waiting to find out whether this is just a freight forwarder letting me down or whether this is due to issues at the port. And either way, I'll let you guys know whether you need to be aware of this freight forwarder or not, or whether it's just because of issues at the port and there isn't actually anything we can do about it. So that is why I have gone out of stock. My plan was for the inventory to arrive at the end of February, try and get it to Amazon as soon as possible after that, usually within a week or so. So it would have been arriving around this date. So I didn't give myself a huge amount of leeway. And I know for next time to give myself maybe another week or two buffer. But I think the other thing was sales were higher than I expected during January as I turned off all PPC to try and slow sales down a little bit. But it didn't really have the desired effect. So I sold through really well and had 2 great months in January and February. But now my products are completely out of stock. So I've talked about it many times in previous videos. Managing inventory and cash flow together is very, very difficult. Trying to get that timing right of when to reorder stock when you've probably already got a huge amount of stock at Amazon to try and prevent going out of stock. It is a very tricky balance. It also comes down to how risk averse you are. How much do you really want to invest in a second batch before you've sold through that first batch? But it's all things to be aware of and keep in mind as you're trying to manage your stock. Now, related to this, there is a small piece of good news. So for the first time, I got to use delayed VAT accounting. Now, I don't know if you caught my videos towards the end of last year, or it might have been even at the start of this year. I was talking about some of the VAT changes that were implemented as a result of Brexit. And one of those changes was the government allowing us to not have to pay VAT at the point of import. So in the past, what would happen is the inventory would arrive at the UK port and they'd take that inventory. So for example, in this case, is around $17,000 of inventory. They'd then put the shipping cost on top of that. So the shipping cost, I think, is around £3,500 for this shipment. They'd then apply customs duty for that. And then they'd take that entire total and you pay 20% VAT on it. Now, that isn't the end of it. And when you got to your VAT return quarter for that period, you could then actually claim that VAT back. However, you'd still be kind of down £3,000 or £4,000 in cash flow in VAT that you can't claim back for another 3 or 4 weeks or even a couple of months, depending on when that shipment actually arrived. So the rule change now basically says that instead of paying that VAT, all you need to do is just declare it on your next VAT return. So that makes a big difference. And I think on this shipment, it worked out around £3,500 of cash flow that I've saved, and I haven't had to invest, or not to say invest, but I haven't had to pay out in VAT and then claim it back at a later date. So that is something to be aware of. If you are VAT registered, make sure you let your freight forwarder know that you want to use this delayed VAT accounting scheme. Now, if you go to the government website, they clearly state that you do not need any approval to account for import VAT on your VAT return. So you don't need to register with HMRC to let them know you want to use this scheme. All you need to do is tell your freight forwarder so that they don't try and charge you VAT and then you have to claim it back. So tell your freight forwarder for any shipments from now on, as providing you're VAT registered, that you want to use the delayed VAT scheme so you don't have to fork out that VAT, really impact your cash flow, only to then claim it back on your next VAT return. So hopefully you guys have found it helpful, getting an insight into why my products are out of stock and some of the shipping delays and inventory management issues that you may face as an FBA seller. And also make sure you register for that delayed VAT return scheme with your freight forwarder. So if you did find this video useful, I really appreciate it. If you could scroll down, hit that like button. If you want to see more from me, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to talk to me and over 3,000 other FBA sellers, go to fbaelite.com, sign up, it's completely free, and I'll see you guys on the forums.